Hi, I'm Smittens from the extreme metal UK band Caligram, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast. Yeah.
One, two, three, four. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you? How you doing?
Good. Well, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah, all good. Can you hear me as well?
Yeah,
All
we're
good, yeah.
good.
Lovely.
How are things over there in the UK?
It's all right. Weather's nice for once, so I can
It's
I
not
can deal with
raining?
that. No, mate, it's been quite sunny actually. It feels like, we'll get a week or two of it, so enjoy it while it lasts.
Right.
I'm not. How about yourself? Where are you based?
I am in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay, right, lovely. I've been there before.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. It's cool. Punk Roxy, strike anywhere from there. Does it
A
strike
lot of
anywhere?
metal here too. Lamb of
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
War, Municipal
Okay.
Waste.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I always felt like it was. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, thanks for taking the time. I appreciate it. Let's talk
Great.
about Caligram.
Lovely. Yeah, no, thanks for taking the time with me as well. Yeah, all day. What do you want me to do? Well,
Uh,
I guess we'll
let's
just crack on.
let's let's start with how about a two-sentence elevator pitch about the band for those who are not familiar with who Caligram is.
Canagram is it's fucking chaos. That's what
Hmm.
it is. It is it is black metal meets cross punk made by five guys from four different countries that are very fucking different and just playing fast and having a good time. And that is it. And then if it's the kind of music that makes you want to murder someone while you're listening to it, that's it. Let's get it on a horror film. There you
Nice.
go.
So let me just start and don't be insulted at all. I absolutely love it. I'm a fan of extreme music, but what are you so pissed about?
I don't even know if we are, if you meet us. We're actually like pretty jovial fellas. Do you know what I mean? But what we're so pissed about, I think how I always view it is people go see psychiatrists, they go, or they like take out on their other half and awful stuff like that. We just get in this room together and like it's a dingy little room in East London, proper old school studio, like rehearsal studio, proper 80s one, or
That's
like all the
great.
all the walls are brown because everyone's smoking in there, which
Right.
is great. I love it. And it's got a bar in there. It's ran by a guy called Jerry the Bastard. He's got like stupid hair, like loads of tattoos, no teeth, all the proper shit. And I feel like that place comes into it, and then all the problems that we might have in our own lives or collectively as human beings, like with everything, we go in that room, we shut the door, we shut the fuck up about that stuff, we play fast, get fucked up, and have a good time.
So I think you hit it on the head, and we talk about this a lot on the show. I think, and the reason I'm drawn to this music, I think, I'm a lifelong metal fan for sure, but I think it's super therapeutic and super cathartic. I think
Yeah.
you nailed it right on the head. As a listener, and I guess as a performer or an artist.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I guess like our live show as well is pretty chaotic and just fast and intense, and that's what we want to give to people. We want to keep like we're all kind of like late 30s now. Like we grew up on DIY punk rock, like a lot of us did, or the DIY metal, and we kind
Mhm.
of like have that in the band. Everyone's into, as you can probably tell with the kind of bouncing around with genres on the record, is that it's like me from like a more punk rock background, and then like a bit of that kind of late 90s screamo stuff, and then like there's other members in the band like Ardo that was like very heavy metal growing up. Like Tim was very Guns N' Roses, into Megadeth, into that kind of like traditional metal, and then like Bruno, one of the like Tim's one guitarist, Bruno's the other one. He grew up on that hardcore stuff and that kind of West Coast pop punk, Fat Records, but then into like Biohazard and Sick of It All, Agnostic Front,
Right.
So we
But
kind of have all of that just
yeah, and
bouncing
I
around.
think I think you're missing something though. Maybe I'm putting something in that's not there, but I think there's a very Norwegian, Scandinavian black metal undercurrent through the whole thing.
Oh yeah, so that is like the kind of that I would say that is the undercurrent that ties it all together. Yeah, absolutely. It's that kind of black metal side. And I mean, like when I joined, I didn't really listen to a lot of black metal at
Right.
all. I was kind of more into crust, which I always felt like crust was and black metal are not that far from each other anyway. They grew up in the same woods. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? They're just slightly different. The vocals are different, and the drum beat's different. But I feel like it still kind of comes from the same thing, and I like to think kind of take that into like our music, and with position momentum as well. Like that DB stuff when it comes in, I feel like on this record we got it better where it comes in smoother. I feel like before with like the I, Ascasis and Demi-Monde, it's like black metal, bam, crossed,
Right.
bam, hardcore, bam. And I feel like now it's kind of like the songwriting's just got
Blended.
better. I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's more on a journey into it. You still have those moments because who doesn't love it when you're going from a super black metal bit to like bam, bam, like everyone loves that.
Right.
I mean, I love it. Evidently.
You just gave me a really good visual too, because you said they're from the same part of the woods, and I just remembered seeing those memes online of the black metal dudes in full makeup out in the woods, and now
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see
getting lost.
a bunch of crust guys out in the woods now getting lost as well, and they're all out there hanging together.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean that's the thing, and I feel like when you listen to like those bands like Wolf Brigade and stuff, like it comes from a black metal position into playing punk rock. You know,
Right.
that's so, and and that's kind of what we listen to, and we just kind of throw it all in, and here it is, and I hope people enjoy it as much as we do.
And I do. And I find it interesting too that you said that you guys all get in the room, the old studio, like in the 80s and the 90s, as opposed to most of the people I talk about. And I ask this question a lot, do you ever get together and write? And most people are writing, they're around the world and sending emails back and forth with riffs and lyric ideas. But I think it's very more organic and more authentic, sorry, I can't speak, when you're in the
That's
room
right.
like that, right? And you're just bouncing stuff off each other, and it's just, hey, let's go here, let's go there.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like we tried, especially during COVID and all that, where we couldn't see each other like we could, and we were trying to send stuff to each other. It just doesn't work for the energy of the band. And like the only thing is, it takes fucking ages to write records
Right.
because you're doing it that way. And like with position momentum, we must have ripped that up 3-4 times. Do you know what I mean? So you feel like you're getting somewhere, and we'd be booked in with like Russ Russell, who did the album, utterly incredible producer, did like Napalm Death,
Right.
And now a great friend of all of us in the band. We really got on, but we had to keep on moving when the album was getting done, and it got to the point where he was just kind of like, boys, I really want to do this, but it's now or never. So, and that's what we need. Every band needs that kick up the arse, that deadline to be like, right, it has to get done now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, brutally heavy, expressing yourself, getting your demons out. Do you ever imagine that you're putting too much of yourself out into your music?
I mean, I'm a very open book. Always have been, always will be. So I'm not fussed with that. I feel like it always, I guess, depends on the member, and I think the biggest one for that is Matteo, the vocalist. So, I mean, he's the one that's there. As crazy as we're going when we're playing live, he's going even madder, and it's like
Right.
him putting his soul, and he's bearing his soul with it, with his lyrics, and like I'm not sure if you know, but like the whole record's in Italian,
Right.
as was our album before, which I think was far better for his. It's your mother tongue. Do you know what I mean? And we're like, no one really is going to be listening, going, "What's that word?" Do you know what I mean? Because I almost view his voice as like it's another instrument, like our HM2 almost. Because I feel like there is with the way we're playing, especially the two guitarists with Tim and Bruno, there's a harshness, but also like a beauty that they kind of like get when they're playing together. And then I think you just put Matteo's scary voice on there. That's like hitting a HM2 pedal, and you're
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, right.
I like to call it a chaotic beauty, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
What was I mean, I assume the singing in Italian was his idea, but what was what was your reaction or the band's reaction when they showed up and said, "Guys, we're an English band, but I want to do this in Italian."
It wasn't his idea. I think it was mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was mine. If it was someone else in the band's idea, I apologize for
So what was
stealing
the
this.
band's idea then when you brought it to them and said, "Hey, let's do this in Italian"?
So we did a song on Ascasis, the EP we did about 6 years ago, I think, called the first song is called Della Mancanza,
Mhm.
which we still play in the set now. I love that song. And that one we did is how we just tried it. And we were just like, it just felt better and it felt right. And then when we did the eye with Lewis, who's a great friend, great producer, we just it just felt right. And like we were kind of open to whatever. And like as a band, everyone's super open. That's like the only reason you can play in a band that kind of sounds a bit different, like ours does.
Right.
Is to have that, and we're very everyone's opinions allowed. It's very kind of democratic, but democratic to a point, but where everyone does have a veto, where it's like, no, this is shit.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like we tried it and we were like, this is great. Also, when you play, there's a lot of bands in London. I don't know, it just kind of gives us something a bit different.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Although, to be fair, and don't take this the wrong way, I'm not sure, and it may have taken me a while, or maybe I didn't even notice until I read the bio. Being that extreme music, it's hard to even sometimes identify what language it is, right?
No, I mean on the Eye Prosthetic Records,
Oh, okay.
who beautifully released these last two records for us. They didn't even know that was in Italian until I
Yeah,
was
that's what I'm saying.
until
So, I mean, I listened
like
to
a
it.
week before it came out. I think Steve emailed me. It was like, "Are those lyrics in Italian?" I was like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to say."
No, that's fine because I think
Yeah.
it's just so you're used to a lot of times not even understanding some of it, so it just goes by, right? It's heavy and
Mm.
brutal and does its thing.
Yeah, and I feel like we're in an energy band, and I feel like that kind of like how we get across. And like when the album comes, like how Matteo's going to do like a load of track by tracks for everyone. So anyone that is interested in like with the translations and what the songs mean, because like he makes songs about some crazy fucking shit. So he's very into philosophy, but then also like Anadonia on the Eye is about him dancing in a nightclub in Italy till 6 a.m. sober by himself. So it's just like you kind of got like different aspects of everything. So I think when the album comes out, 14th of July, everyone please pre-order. Thank you.
Right.
Is yeah, we'll kind of go through all that and put that information out there for anyone that wants to wants to know. Also, just email us or come up to us at a show. None of us bite unless you want us to.
Right, unless you want to, right? Fair enough. When you guys are you writing like how the song is going to come across live on stage, or are you writing the song for the song's sake?
It's I guess it depends on who you're speaking to in the band, but like again, like we kind of what we'll do is either Bruno or Tim, the two guitarists, usually one of them will bring a riff or a collection of riffs that they've done at home, and we'll just kind of go on it, jam through it, and it builds and it builds and it builds. But I definitely feel like I've always been very adamant that the kind of DNA in this band is that blast beat, D beat, high energy, and so I always feel like that live side of it is always in my mind, because at the end of the day, that's the best bit. If you're playing in a band just to write and record and not go on tour, I don't want to be in a band with you. So, like,
Right,
yeah,
right.
Greetings from Evergreen Podcasts. We're rolling out a listener survey and we want to hear from you. The information in the survey will help us gather statistics and in turn make our shows more appealing to advertisers. I know most people don't like ads, but this is one of the only ways our shows make money and help keep their lights on. We promise it will only take a few minutes, but the impact on our podcasts will be tremendous. As a token of our appreciation, we'll randomly select one lucky participant each month to win an exclusive merchandise package from Evergreen Podcasts. Head to evergreenpodcast.com/listener survey to help a show and possibly get some free stuff for doing so. We can't thank you enough for the support. Now back to the show.
And I think like your music is definitely designed to open up the pit on the floor, right? I mean, that's like inherent in your DNA.
I mean, people struggle to pick because I think we just changed the riffs so much, and maybe like the genre bouncing, and it's like people that know us, great, but as you know, we're playing like bigger support slots or like out on the tours and stuff, and you're getting people that might be a bit more pigeonholed in what they're into genre wise. So it's quite funny watching them because they might be like black metal kids, so you're just like hammering these like fucking like Acklet sounding bits or whatever,
Right.
and they're just like, oh yeah, and then you hit a punk bit, and they're just like, what? But you've hit that punk bit, and then some kid across the other side of the room who might be into like, I don't know, like two-step hardcore or something.
Right.
It's just like, whoa, bam in the pit. So it's just like it's people are working it out because I feel as well there's something that's slightly convergy maybe to kind of like what we do, like kind of those kind of bands like is it Zao or however you say it? Like we've been to them quite a lot, just like that kind of side of hardcore as well, metallic hardcore, I guess, the chaotic side. So yeah, I think people work it out, but if once they're in album wise, yeah, I mean they'll just go smash each other's heads in a nice way. Do you know what I mean? That's it.
It's funny you said converge, because when I tried to think about who you might even come close to sounding like, or in the same vein, converge was not it. I was thinking one of your label mates, Psychroptic.
Okay, that's a good shout. I've never really thought that, but I think that was maybe again just because of everyone kind of has where they
Right.
feel.
And by no
feel
means
it.
am I saying identical or anything like that, but
No,
if I had to
that's
guess, put a
Yeah.
saying, I would think Psychroptic.
Okay, nice one. Well, that's right. I'm going to dig into them some more after this call then.
Yeah,
You can see
they've been on the
that's
show a
something.
bunch of times. They're really nice
Yeah.
guys, and I've kind of dig what they're doing too. So it's
Yeah,
good. I mean,
wicked.
obviously this music is not for everyone, and you don't intend it to be, but
Hmm.
I mean, for those who like it, this is really good, heavy, therapeutic stuff, as silly as that sounds.
Love it. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I hope everyone else also feels the same. Because I'll tell you what, I'll send the Existier video. I don't know if anyone's seen the videos we made, but they're pretty fucking mad as well. If you've got epilepsy, don't watch them. And I'll send that Existier one to my dad, and I was just like, oh yeah, this is kind of music I'm doing at the minute. And he was just like, what the fuck is that? I was just like, wicked, there you go. And it's like he's into like, he grew up on Sabbath. I got into Sex Pistols off the back of him when I was very young. Do you know what I mean? He's a massive, massive Lynyrd Skynyrd fan. Like, he's into guitars. But I mean, when you listen
but
to
this is beyond that, way beyond.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm glad that he doesn't understand it. Do you know what I mean? If my mum was like, "Oh yeah, great song, Dan," I'd be like, "Let's quit now." Like,
right,
game over now.
Right. That's funny. If your mom approves, you got to quit.
Yeah, fuck that.
Are you guys planning on taking this out live?
Yeah, so we're doing dates around the UK in July. We're supporting Midnight, the black metal, that's like black metal, punk rock, rock and roll, wicked bands. We're supporting them in London, and then just doing our own run in July, and then we're just gonna be hitting like all the way throughout the year. We're just kind of getting like weeks in there, weeks in here, weeks in there, and then next year, once the album's out, and I think there's been a bit of a backlog just post-COVID with tours and especially the festival lineups.
Yeah, I know they're
So
like a year behind, right?
Yeah, so like, and it's all catching up now. So next year we're just like, right, bam, let's hit Europe pretty hard. And then we're talking about going to Brazil with having 2 Brazilians in the band and try and hit South America next year. And then the plan is if we hit South America, let's come do this run in the States on the way, on the way in or the way out.
Right. And South America, I've never been, but from what I understand and people I've talked to, that's like a rabid metal scene down there in Brazil and Argentina. And a lot of those places, they like live and breathe this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're like, let's go. And, we've got an advantage over so many bands having 2 guys that moved to England from Brazil. Do you know what I mean? They were in their 20s when they moved to England. So they know a lot of people back there that are in that scene. So it's just like, let's just go do it. I mean, worst case scenario, what is it? It's like the greatest holiday you're ever going to have in your life. So it's like, go do it.
And the first thing that comes to mind is an English band singing Italian playing in a Spanish country. Or a Portuguese country.
Portuguese, yeah, I know. It'll be me walking around in my England football kit, getting mugged every day.
Right. You'll probably catch some soccer matches, though, right?
Oh, mate, yeah. So Ardo, our drummer, is like a really big Sao Paulo supporter. So like, I've got loads of Sao Paulo merch now. He keeps on buying stuff for me. So, but yeah, we're very football led. That as a band, we're very, very into our football.
Sure. Um, I know you said you're planning on touring, but how much concern do you put into like the difficulty of it, right? Because bands are canceling tours, like Anthrax canceling European tours because of money, right? It's expensive.
Yeah, it's the toughest it's ever been, and it's like like I came out as COVID hit, so we missed all that touring.
Right.
And then now, obviously, cost of living crisis and stuff we're having over here. I'm sure you guys are having something similar.
Yeah.
Like just getting merch made is costing so much more
So
money.
I'm reading in Blabbermouth over here, and you could probably tell me firsthand about people in Europe and maybe even England that are venue owners or promoters that are charging percentages of merch.
Oh, fucking yeah, it's been happening forever. So
It has. I just started hearing about it.
No, it's just sort of not a new thing. It's on those bigger shows, those like the venues that are usually owned by like certain promoters that might have the initials LN. LN. Yeah, those kind of venues are like they can do it because what they're doing is they're like 2,500 cap price. Right. The headline bands, they don't care because they're making a shitload of money. Their merch person won't care because actually it just means they've got a night off. Do you know what I mean? Because it's been done by the venue staff. And
because they have to control it.
Yeah. So that's
oh wow.
So it makes it really awkward then because as an opening band, you're that 25%. And if you think after your merch costs on get it made, Craig Reynolds, who's got his drum podcast and everything. He plays in Straight from the Path. He went into. He's a good old mate. He really went into it and kind of like the breakdown on costs for a band like them, which are quite sizable, but are doing a lot of support tours at the minute. And that 25%, when you then take out your merch costs and all this, that, and that, that's actually 50% of your profit that's gone there.
Right.
And if you're not getting to sell your own merch, that's the bit where you can push it and you can convince someone who was going there to buy a Behemoth shirt or whatever to buy your band they've never heard of before shirt.
Right.
But venue staff don't care what you're buying.
Right. Because they're cut no matter what.
Yeah, they're just going to get paid. Do you know what I mean? They're just people there that are probably at university and they just want to go watch some bands and get paid to do it. So, and that, I understand that. But yeah, it's an issue the same way that all the Ticketmaster stuff, where their fees that they're taking for shows and that accelerating. Everyone's greedy. We live in an incredibly greedy planet. Do you know what I mean? And I think we're seeing that more and more the past like 10 years.
Yeah.
At some point, you'd expect it to top out, but when will it? Because it only stops when the bands who are actually earning the money for these venues stop doing it. And I mean, what, your Metallica's going to stop doing that, or like whoever it is? Say these capacity venues are what, like 2,500 to 8,000 people. Right. Whoever the bands that are doing that, they're not going. If they're making enough money. And then the cost of, when you're going back to Anthrax, the costs of touring now are so much. I get it. Why the fuck would Anthrax want to come to Europe and earn less money?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
When you're at their age now, it's not like they're going to have a hit,
right?
Another one now and break through. So you're just like, might as well just tour the US and make way more money and be closer to home.
Yeah.
And use their own gear. Do you know what I mean? Right. Rather than having to use a B or a C rig or rentals or whatever, you can just do it the way you want it. So I mean, you can't really blame them.
No, you can't. It just sucks for the whole situation because it kind of reminds me. We started this conversation off talking about how you guys have that DIY punk ethic, and it kind of reminds me of like the early Henry Rollins. What band was he in? Black Flag. The early Black Flag days, right? When because he wrote the blueprint on DIY touring, didn't he? I mean, Black Flag was like the thing.
Yeah, I always feel like the Black Flag, Minor Threat, like, when those two coasts kind of combined and did that. And that's very much, I grew up DIY punk, to get in a van, play for like-minded people that are putting shows on, do a lot of show swaps. That's just kind of how you going. Do you know what I mean? There's a band in Leeds that sound a bit like you. They put you on in Leeds, you put them on in London.
Right.
Then you might tour together and you do that. And before you know it, some of these bands and the people you meet, you know, I've been doing this for like way over 20 years now. They're playing in big bands, or they've got a job in the industry,
right.
or like, do you know what I mean? Because a lot of the people, if you're doing that stuff, you're a lifer.
Right.
And that kind of worked out what I was. It's just like, I don't know anything else.
Do you find it more difficult to get in a van 20 years into this?
I don't know, maybe a little bit. We just kind of started to adapt how we tour. So like, I'll drive now. So used to what we do is we just get a driver in a van, go, but we just be getting utterly smashed constantly. And it's like, so what we'll do now is like, I'll drive. It also saves us a bit of money. It keeps it a bit calmer. And then after the show, we park up with like whoever's house we're staying at, you know, then we can get smashed and that's fine. But you're not doing it all day, every day. Because it is, yeah, I'm 38 now. It's a bit harder to recover, you know.
Yeah. It takes 3 days instead of an hour.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Yeah, exactly that.
Well, cool. So if fans want to find you guys, where do they find Caligram?
So it is, I think everything is Caligram Music, at Caligram Music, apart from the Instagram, which is, I'll tell you now, Caligram_UK. But I mean, it's just like Facebook we have on, but I mean, people don't really use it anymore. Twitter, I'm always on. That's my favorite one to do, because you can just talk shit to people. Do you know what I mean? It's quite,
oh yeah, absolutely,
quite a nice direct thing. And then Instagram as well. And I'm sure Ardo would have set up a TikTok, but I mean, he's using that. So at our age, but yeah. But yeah, those are the main places to find us. And then obviously all the DSPs, Spotify, Apple, whatever you're listening to will be on there.
Thank you, my friend. I hope that wasn't too bad. I know we meandered a bit.
That's right. Don't worry, mate. All good. So I had a great time.
I do absolutely love the single anyway, and I'm looking forward to the record June 14th or July 14th. Sorry.
Yeah, 14th.
For anybody listening.
14th. Yeah.
On Prosthetic Records.
Yeah, Prosthetic Records. Love them. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time, my friend. Be well.
You too. Have a good day, mate.
Cheers.
Enjoy. Bye.
Ever wonder what a punch from Elton John feels like?
Or how you'd cope with having turned down the chance to be in Nirvana?
Or what signal Keith Richards gives when he wants you to get the hell out of his hotel room?
Fans of Too Much Effing Perspective don't have to wonder, because they've heard these exact stories and a jillion others on our podcast. I'm Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead.
And I'm musician and comedy writer Alan Keller. On the TMEP show, we get guests like Nancy Wilson from Heart, Jeremiah Freites from the Lumineers, and Modern Family's Julie Bowen to tell us things they may have only shared with their therapist, clergy, or a TMZ stringer.
So join us on Too Much Effing Perspective. That's EFFING Perspective. The only podcast you crank up to 11.